So we went to the library today. I had some books that I had put to the side. But while I was there, I sometimes like to search the free books, and I found this gem that's been on my TBR for a while. There by Tammy Orange. Now, this is an indigenous novel by an indigenous author. It's about indigeneity. And I'm going to read you the synopsis. Fierce, angry, funny, heartbreaking, Tammy Orange's first novel is a wondrous and shattering portrait of an America few of us have ever seen, and it introduces a brilliant new author at the start of a major career. There is a relentlessly paced, multi-generational story about violence and recovery, memory and identity, and beauty and despair woven into the history of a nation and its people. It tells the story of 12 characters, each of whom has private reasons for traveling to the Big Oakland powwow. Jackie Redfeather is newly sober and trying to make it back to the family she left behind in shame. Dean Oxendine is pulling his life back together after his uncle's death and has come to work at the powwow to honor his uncle's memory. Opal Viola Victoria Bearshield has come to watch her nephew Orville, who has taught himself traditional Indian dance through YouTube videos and has come to the powwow to dance in public for the very first time. There will be glorious communion and a spectacle of sacred tradition and pageantry. There will be a sacrifice and heroism and unspeakable loss. Here's a voice we have never heard, a voice full of poetry and rage, exploding onto the page with stunning urgency and force. Tammy Orange writes of the plight of the urban Native American, the Native American in the city, in a stunning novel that grapples with a complex and painful history, with an inheritance of beauty and profound spirituality, with a plague of addiction, abuse, and suicide. An unforgettable debut destined to become required reading in schools and universities across the country. So this has been a must-read thus far that I've seen on TikTok. Like I said, it's been on my TBR for a while, and hey, free book. I absolutely think we should be reading diversely all year round. There are so many amazing books that have proper representation, and I say proper because if you've watched some of my lives recently, I talked about some books that I found for my son of two authors who neither one of are indigenous, and I want to make that clear. I do plan on reading, I've read some of their works, right? So Scott O'Dell, you might know him from Island of the Blue Dolphins, and Jean Craighead George, who wrote Julie of the Wolves and My Side of the Mountain. Now, both have a great representations of indigeneity within some of their works, and I do highly recommend them for YA and young adults. That being said, there are also other authors that we can be supporting, like Tammy Orange, who are indigenous, who are writing books, right? So I just want to make that clear. Researching your author is just as important. You can read diversely and support diverse authors. You can read diversely and support indie authors, especially because sadly only 4% get traditionally published. So we are missing out a lot. If you have other indigenous books that you recommend, please put them in the chat. Let us know what genre they're for or age range. I'm always looking for children's books as well. Like I said, I'm going to be picking up some more of Scott O'Dell's books, as well as Jean Craighead George. Our library does have a huge shelf of Jean Craighead George. Maybe I'll do a video sometime in there because I'm in the town that she lived in. I live in the town that My Side of the Mountain is set on, so I can really relate to that more ways than one. But yeah, so let me know. And also let me know your thoughts on this. I'll come back with a review once I'm done.